Welcome back. The Department of Justice launching a civil rights investigation into the death of Alex Preddy, who was killed 2 weeks ago after an altercation with Border Patrol in Minneapolis. Newly released video shows Preddy a week prior to his death, spitting at ICE agents, busting their cars' tail lights before being tackled to the ground. Here's the U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche on the investigation now underway.
It's an investigation. So an investigation necessarily means just that. It means talking to witnesses. It means looking at documentary evidence, sending subpoenas if you have to. And the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division has the best experts in the world at this. They've been doing it for decades. And so I expect that investigation will proceed with those parameters in mind.
The Trump administration looking for cooperation with local law enforcement to de-escalate things and target criminal illegal aliens still in the state. Here's Border Czar Tom Homan.
The withdrawal of law enforcement resources here is dependent upon cooperation. Like I said, one agent arresting one bad guy in jail means less agents on the street. We have some agreements. We got more to talk about how we're going to implement those agreements. But as we see that cooperation happen, then the redeployment will happen. Look, target enforcement operations should happen across the nation. That's what we've done for decades. And with target enforcement operations, I've done many of them. It just makes it safer for everybody.
Joining me now is former FBI special agent and Fox News contributor Nicole Parker. Nicole, good to see you. You know, it's incredible when you look at some of the states that have actually worked with Border Patrol, worked with the Department of Homeland Security to, weed out the bad guys and the bad girls in terms of criminality, and a complete opposite when you don't have the leadership working with Border Patrol, you actually have chaos. Your reaction?
You're exactly right, Maria. These are targeted operations that, frankly, American voters, this is what they voted for. They voted to remove those that are harming American citizens who never should have been here in the first place. They need to be deported and they need to be moved out of our country. And that is exactly what Tom Homan is doing, along with ICE agents and other federal officers. But I think it's very interesting to look and see. I'm from the great state of Texas originally. I haven't heard anything of this sort happening in Texas. I currently reside in Florida. We don't hear anything about this happening in Florida either, because they cooperate. The leadership in the other states cooperate with the federal agencies because they know that it's the best thing for their constituents. And so I think it's important to note that when you do that, there are no issues, there are no problems.
Yeah, and that's what Greg Abbott told me yesterday, the governor of Texas as well. What do you make of what happened to Don Lemon? I mean, the former CNN anchor, Don Lemon, arrested for allegedly violating federal law during a protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. He's being charged with conspiracy against the right of religious freedom at a house of worship. His lawyer is Abby Lowell, who also represents Hunter Biden and Letitia James, by the way. He's calling the charges an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment, Nicole.
It's not an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment. It is actually an enforcement of the law. The FACE Act violation includes not only anti-abortion clinics, which is what most people think of it as, but protecting religious rights, religious freedom in places of worship. You have no right, I don't care what your job is or what you are doing, whether you're a reporter or a journalist, you have no right to go into a place of worship and to obstruct, interfere, intimidate, block those from worshiping. That is a God-given right to protect those that worship God, and that they have that right to do it safely and to not be in fear. And so I think it's important to note the differentiations here. But again, this is an indictment. A grand jury returned a 2-count indictment, Title 18, Section 18 U.S. Code 248 and 241, and that is what will happen. The law will work itself out and determine what happens next. But again, Don Lemon is not above the law just because he is a journalist. And when I watch those parishioners, the fear in their faces, little children, parents that weren't even allowed to get to pick up their children from Sunday school, the screaming, the taunting, blocking, obstructing in entryways and exits. It's unacceptable. It is a violation of the law, and people must be held accountable.
Yeah, here's the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, talking about just that with me yesterday. Watch this. Tom Homan warned that left-wing groups are funding the attacks on ICE. Do you believe that this is domestic, or are these also tied to foreign adversaries like Communist China?
Something that we have been dealing with this in Texas, where we see funding come from outside groups, including George Soros. And I think one of the most important things the Trump administration can achieve is to get to the bottom of who's funding all this. It could be the protest groups, it could be the NGOs, things like that. But listen, I think if the Trump administration can find out who is funding all this illegal activity, interfering with the ability of ICE to do its job, that would be the biggest game changer that could be achieved by the president.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't know who the outside agitators are, but this would be part of that investigation, right, Nicole?
Oh, absolutely. And there's one thing that they will always do, and that is to follow the money. The bank records never lie, follow the money. And I do believe, in my opinion, that there are foreign influences involved in these agitation processes. This is a very high complex operation. This is not just, the mom and pop sort of thing. Yeah, there might be some local residents there in Minneapolis that are extremely frustrated, but I think it's highly organized and much more than that. And I do believe that there is definitely foreign influence. There's nothing more that they love to see than to stir up the pot in the United States.
Nicole, today marks 5 years since you lost your dear friend Laura while on the job at the FBI. Tell us about that, and our condolences to her and her family, and of course you.
Maria, thank you. Thank you for remembering our heroes. You have been one that has always been an advocate for honoring our federal agents, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and that matters. Because these individuals, like my best friend, Special Agent Laura Schwarzenberger, she left her home the morning of February 2nd of 2021 and never returned. She left behind a husband and 2 lovely sons. They were ages 9 and 11. Another agent was also shot and killed in the line of duty on that same day. In the same operation, 3 other agents were additionally shot, but thankfully they survived. And we can never underestimate the sacrifice that these officers and federal agents are making. And again, she did it willingly. She was executing a search warrant to protect children from a child predator. And that is what this is all about, heroism. She wasn't thinking of herself, she was thinking of others. And when I see what's happening and how people are disparaging our federal agents, and particularly ICE at this time, it's very difficult to watch, because I can tell you that not all federal agents make it home alive. No officer ever wants to have to pull their weapon, but when they have to, they know that they are doing it because they believe that their life or the life of another person is in imminent danger of death or serious physical injury. And I would just want to thank Special Agent Laura Schwarzenberger and Special Agent Daniel Alfin for paying the ultimate sacrifice for our country. There had not been an adversarial line of duty death in the FBI for approximately 14 years when their lives were taken. And Maria, what I found very discouraging is that the FBI never did a formal after-action review. Christopher Wray never addressed the FBI. They were so focused on the wrong things. That morning, there was no SWAT protection for Special Agent Laura Schwarzenberger, but yet at the same time frame, the FBI was liberally utilizing SWAT resources for January 6th misdemeanors. And that, to me, is a problem. America deserves better, our agents deserve better, and Laura and her family deserve better. And I know under the Trump administration, they honor and respect law enforcement, and that matters. And we need to pay our deepest gratitude and respect to those that are willing to put their lives on the line like Laura did on February 2nd. And may God bless her soul.
Absolutely. These people walk out the door not knowing what will happen that day, but they do so to protect the law and protect this great country. May she rest in peace. Nicole, thank you. Nicole Parker.
Thank you.
On that this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.